Hey guys, Yields here. Apologies for making the video a little bit late today. Just got off of work and didn't have time to make one earlier. So yeah, but here we are. So yeah, so I wanted to go over Group D's distribution. It was announced this morning, and yeah, some interesting stuff in here. Also, what's really cool is this time they actually included the return of capital column. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They also included the distribution rate again, but I calculated these myself to get more of a accurate thing. It's actually, for some reason, the numbers were different, but I pulled these prices straight from Yahoo Finance and calculating them that way. So they should be close to each other, but I just wanted to give a better representation of this number. So let's get straight into it. We have a new weekly fund. You can see at the top, SDTY. I don't believe we had that last week. Nope. We have GPTY, LFGY, YieldMax, and YMAG. So there's that. So SDTY does not have a distribution yet, so we're just going to skip over that. But that is a S&P 500 0DTE covered call. So this is basically the competitor to XDTE, from my understanding, because XDTE is the 0DTE covered call on the S&P 500. So yeah, GPTY. So I'm gonna actually zoom in here. It's a little bit probably better for you guys to see. GPTY, we can see their last distribution was 29 cents per share. The last price of $48, and that gives us a 31%. So I'm going to come over here, and I also added this here just so I don't have to go back and forth between the pages. I'm sure that was probably annoying to watch. So yeah, so the last distribution that we had for GPTY was 35%. So we're actually seeing about the same distribution here, 31% on our on the newest side. So that's pretty nice. Moving on to LFGY. The current distribution that we see is 61%. Let's check last week and maybe the week before that as well, or 2 weeks before that. 61% is the lowest that we've seen, and this is the lowest share price as well, so it's not just a premium thing. It also does seem like the share price is decreasing. So yeah, hopefully that does not continue. But moving on to YieldMax, we have 47%. Not the best, not gonna lie, not the best. Last distribution was 60%. We also have a 3-month average of 54%, so that's well below the average. But this is something I mentioned the other day during my portfolio video. Just thinking about switching YieldMax, because this is my biggest holding, to like something like AIPI, where you have more of a standard distribution of like 35%, because you get weeks like this. Now, technically, the 3-month average is higher, but also this is not looking at total return as well. Speaking of total return, the last price for YieldMax was $16.41. which is lower than, the last few weeks. In fact, it's, I think, the lowest since, according to this, I guess here, when was that? January 16th. It was slightly lower than this, so yeah. But I'll tell you what, YieldMax did way better than YMAG. This time around, YMAG did have 14% distribution. Holy crap, that is terrible. But as per usual, you can see that there is a common dip every week, or every 4 weeks on Group D. There is the same dip, right? So you can see 14, 15, 16, 14. For some reason that started around October. Not sure why. Someone can leave that in the comments if they have an idea. But yeah, you can see there every 4th week or Group D, it drops in price, which kind of sucks for a lot of people holding this, because that just means it's slowly gonna, bring the average down over time. So we can see the 3-month average is 44%, which is below YieldMax. And this distribution is $18, which I believe is the lowest distributions we've had in the last, since September. So, yeah. Moving on to everyone's favorite, Misty. Misty had a 99% distribution this time around. So we're getting about a pretty average distribution here. I mean, we're not getting the 200% like we were when Bitcoin was extremely popular, but still getting a $2 distribution, and it's still around that 100% distribution. Now, on the email list, they said 100%, but according to this calculation, it is not that. So I don't know where they're pulling that out of, but it's not. And this is including a 13-week, or 13 distributions per annum. So I don't know where they're pulling that extra percentage out, but that's not how the numbers come out. So, looking at the inverse of QQQ, we have a 19% distribution. I mean, I've said this before. All of YieldMax's inverse products are pretty crap. And this is not a difference. Or this is no different, right? 19% is the lowest we've seen ever in this fund, and it's going to continue to be like that, including the share price. I mean, it keeps going down. So we'll see. I could, be biting my tongue in a couple months from now when, let's say the NASDAQ crashes, but until then, there's no reason to be in it. So maybe a small position if you guys really want, but I would not do that. But hey, that's not financial advice or anything. Just my 2 cents. AMZ, the old favorite, 36% this time around. So that's higher than last distribution, but that's not saying too much. The 3-month average is 52%. So, I mean, there you go. It's below that 3-month average, and the share price is sitting at $19.61. So it's actually up from last week, which is nice. It's about the price it was in October. But yeah, I mean, that's still a decent percent. If people, 40% was kind of what I was targeting with AMZ when I held it way back when, but it's just below that. Moving on to APLY, we have a 28% distribution here, or annualized distribution rate. That is actually the second highest here. Not too bad. It's above the 3-month average, so not too bad as well. With that being said, the share price is actually lower. This is going to be the lowest distribution we've seen. So that's interesting. The premiums must have been pretty nice, but, the share price does seem to be declining, at least since the last one, I guess. It's kind of too early to tell, because this went up, or this went down, then up, then down, but this is going down again. So we'll see. But yeah. AIYY. Let's take a look here. This one had a distribution of 64%. So, yippee. But, common theme with this fund, its price is falling even further, right? So we're at $7.52, which is less than last week. And you can see that that's going to, when this comes in, in a few days, that's going to drop even more. So, yeah. And 67% or 64%, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on in my head, but 64% is not very good as well. 3-month average of 90%, so well below that. And especially before last month, we had 3 months of 100% distributions. and then we get hit with this, like obviously that's less than ideal. So yeah, Disney, we we have 36%. That is actually better than the last 2 months of distributions. Just above the 3-month average, so not bad. We have a $16.29 last price from yesterday, that is, which is not amazing. That is actually lower than the month before that. So it's kind of bouncing back and forth between, $16.50 to $17, $18. So yeah, this is one of those supposedly stable funds, but yeah, I wouldn't invest in this. If you're gonna go with YieldMax, personally, in my opinion, if you're gonna go with YieldMax, you already have inherent risk. So choosing something that's safe is probably not the best idea. And I've gotten burned multiple times by YieldMax by doing the safe options like Dizzo or AMC, or some of the other ones like JPMO or Phoebe, whatever you want to call it, MSTO or whatever it is. Those are considered safe, but man oh man, do they just love to flip a switch and destroy your portfolio. So sorry about the rant aside. 45% for SQY, so that is pretty low. I mean, it's the second lowest we've seen between these months, and it's below that 3-month average, and the last price is also the lowest we've seen since October, so kind of sucks there. Lastly, SMCY, here we go. We have a 101% distribution, annualized distribution, so that's pretty amazing. You can see that here the last 3-month average, or the 3-month average, is 97%, which means we're actually sitting above that 3-month average. It does seem kind of like we're hovering around 100%, which is actually decent. And the share price actually appreciated since last time, just below, the other times. Holy crap, look at that, though. That almost halved its price. And I think, I know what that was. I think there was the what is the parent company of this? SMCI. Yeah, Supermicro, they had that whole fraud thing going on, and then it kind of got disputed, but that killed this fund in terms of that share price. But hey, we're going up. Hopefully it keeps going up for those that are holding it. Whoever did, pick it up then probably got a really nice discount between these two dates. There probably was a lower date or a lower price. If we probably could see that actually. So that was what, between October and November. And they'll close is here. Yeah, let's see, October. What was the exact date on that? The 21st. So anytime before the 21st. Oh, maybe not. Look at that though. Looks like the next day it went from $53 to $37. That's crazy. You got a $21 here, but I digress. Good news is that fund's doing decent now, if you just look past that initial bump. So yeah. Lastly, I just want to take a look at all of the return capital values here. So yeah, let's expand this here just so it's easier to see. So you can see there's two funds that do not have any return of capital, and that is AMZ and YQQQ. So these two funds here. We do have some high return of capital funds. Now, all of the newish funds should actually be pretty high in return of capital, just because that's kind of how it works. You can see MSTY has been out, I think, the longest out of any of these here, barring YieldMax and YMAG. So that's why it's probably sitting around 33%. Whether that's a good thing for you now or a bad thing for you now, that's just depending on your tax situation, right? Having that deferred or not, who knows? But with that being said, that is all for this video. And as always, I wish you guys a wealthy future.